It's September 1st here at the West End Gun Club here at the Rimfire Range, going to do a run through of the September NRL22 Course of Fire. And if you're a subscriber of my YouTube channel, you might be surprised that I'm here at the range because I posted an announcement 2 days ago saying that I might not be able to make it out here to do a run through because of the forest closures. So for those of you unaware, there's a fire very close to the range. It started about 2 miles away south of the range, and it spread and it crossed, I guess, the paved road and went onto this side of the area, and it got pretty close to the range. And we're in this is the National Forest, San Bernardino National Forest, and I guess after that fire, they did a closure of the forest, and there's another closure for all California forests through like the middle of September. Anyway, we are on private land in the forest, but the closure includes all of the forest roads, and in order to get to the range we have to go through a forest road, which is 1N33 Meyers Canyon Road. And so we weren't sure, or I wasn't sure, what the status was for our ability to get to the range. And I guess there was an email yesterday from the president of the club indicating that they got permission, clearance from the district ranger that we can use 1N33 to get access to our range. So the forest is still closed all around. You're not supposed to be driving anywhere else, like on these forest roads, unless you're, you're like one of the Edison workers, the guys who, handle the power lines, or if you're, obviously firefighters or forest service or forest ranger, whatever. But they gave us permission to access our land by using 1N33. So that's cool. I know down the range is Lido Creek firing line, and they're actually on forest land too, or forest land as well. And I know they started shooting yesterday. So once they opened up, I figured, the only thing holding us back was the fact that we have to, drive through or drive onto a service road to get to our range. But that was squared away, so that's why we're here. Anyway, I've set up all my targets and then set up all the props. And there's actually another guy here. He's setting up his target. He runs one of the other matches here on the Rimfire Range, one of the silhouette matches. But he's setting up his targets while I'm doing my thing here. I'm going to load up some mags or whatever, and then we'll go ahead and do a run through. I did bring my CZ455 with me, but I'm not entirely sure if I'll have time to do anything with it. I think I might. I mean, it's a good day at the range. I do have the day off from work, so I'm not in a rush to get back to the office or back home to my home office. So assuming the wind stays the same, I'll probably go ahead and set up my target. I have a plumb bob. I was going to re-level the scope because I put the scope back onto the CZ455, so I need to level that off. But we'll see. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and wait for him to finish up, and then we'll start shooting. Okay. I actually set up this stage on the far right of the range, and I want to go ahead and do this one first because the other guy is shooting here. I want to give him some room to shoot on this side. So I'm going to take care of this one first. So the first stage we're going to run through is called Patriot Day Celebration. And this is like a September 11th themed, I guess, or tribute match. That's why the September 11th reference is here. Patriot Day Celebration is a 12-round. It's a 12-round stage, so you're going to need a mag change if you're in California. 10 rounders, 120-second part time. We have two targets. We have a 63-yard target, a 1.5 inch, and an 85-yard target. It's a 2.5 inch. So 1.5 at 63, 2.5 at 85. We're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, the shooter will engage the near target with 3 shots each from each tank trap trip. Sorry, let me repeat that. On the start signal, the shooter will engage the near target with 3 shots from each tank trap tip. So 1, 2, 3, near. The shooter will then engage the furthest target to the far target from the rope with 3 shots. So you got this rope straddling the front 2 tips, the way I have this oriented. And that's pretty much it. So 3, 3, and 3 at 63, then 3 at 85. Let's go ahead and do a quick run through. I'm not going to set up a camera downrange on the target simply for time constraints right now, but you don't really need to see the target. I guess it's more just for aesthetics or for entertainment, I guess. But let's just go ahead and run through this stage real quick, and we should be good. so that run through didn't go very well. I timed out. I did drop the magazine on that stage, so that probably cost me the 2 rounds I would have fired. I did miss at 85. I didn't bother to check my zeros before I started shooting, so that could have been an issue. I think I was hitting up maybe into the left, so I should have came right 1/10 of a mil. But as far as that stage is concerned, I think it's relatively simple. Whether or not I need to use this bag is another question. I think it does help me on the tank trap. I know a lot of people are better shooters than me, and they don't need the additional body bag, I guess, for support off the tank trap tip. I can probably go ahead and shoot that that stage of fire without this bag, and it might speed me up because you're kind of just manipulating everything like this while you're trying to move around the tank trap. I think also, if I have the opportunity, I'm going to try to run that stage again one more time, if there's room to do it. But the way that the tank trap is oriented during that stage, you definitely want to start either on the left or right tip, because you want to come around in a horseshoe. If you start from the backside, then you're going to come to the left and then work your way back around to right. So it's easier if you just start from one end and work your way around to the other. And I think I would shoot from the left or the right side of the tank trap, because I think I shot it from the left side, which was a bad idea because it's harder to manipulate the bolt because of where the rope is hanging down. So it's as right-handed shooters, be on the right hand of the tank trap, so you have more room. You can put your left side of the body against the tank trap, and then you can have free movement of your your shooting arm to operate the bolt. So I would change that aspect of it, and that would probably save me more time, because I went from left, back, right, then moved back around to shoot from the left side of the tank trap. So it was inefficient in that way. So dropping the mag was one inefficiency, and that maneuvering around the tank trap was not optimal. So that's what I'll do. If I get a chance to practice it one more time, that's what I'll do. And during the match, that's what I'll do. So left, back, right, and stay on the right side, shoot on the rope from the right side of the tank trap, so I have free movement on my right hand, and I can probably rest this same way as I would as if I were kneeling down for the tank trap tip. Anyway, that's it for that stage, Patriots Day celebration. Let's move on to the next stage fire. The next stage of fire we're going to run through is called Rebuilding Ground Zero. It's a prone stage, 120-second part time, 10 rounds total. We have 2 targets, same distance, and on different hangers. We have a 2-inch target, 79 yards times 2. So 2 2-inch targets, 79 yards, single hangers, and they're 5 yards apart minimum. So this is the bonus time stage. So if you finish with extra time on the clock, you get bonus points. 1/10 of a bonus point per second remaining. You're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in, action open. On the start signal, the shooter will take a prone supported position and engage each target with 1 shot, starting with the left target and alternating between each target, left, right, left, right, left, right. Shooter will yell done, but we have timers, so it doesn't really matter. And it says note targets must be at least 5 yards apart, and they are 5 yards. I think a little bit over 5. I didn't bring a tape measure, but I paced it. Well, actually, I do have a tape measure. I have to dig it out of the Jeep, but I can verify it, but it's 5 yards. When I was thinking about the stage before I came here, I'm pretty sure a panning bipod is going to be key here. If you don't have a panning bipod, you can probably game it by putting a piece of cardboard. If you're on concrete, just put the feet of your bipod on cardboard so you can slide it a lot easier. I'm using the spike feet, so they do slide on concrete, but they do catch depending on how, what kind of friction you can generate here on this concrete with the spikes. Rubber feet, probably on dirt, might be okay. On concrete, they might stick a little. I don't know. Anyway, I have my panning set. I'm not really a panning shooter. I'm a fan of panned bipods, but apparently in this case, it's probably going to help you out a lot. Anyway, let's go ahead and run through this stage, and we'll see how it goes. Finished with 59.147 on the clock, 59.47. So 60 seconds. It was really easy. Panning bipod makes a huge difference here. Or being able to move your bipod easily, or your rifle easily, without the bipod catching on the ground. You just want to be able to pan your rifle without any jittering or chatter. And the way our range is designed, if you take your eyes off target, like out of the scope, and you lose your target, you're gonna have problems. So I was set to 9x, between 8 and 10x magnification, and I did not remove my eye from the field of view. I stayed on the scope. You don't want to, the way our dirt berms are, and I don't even have flags like I normally would. I put colored flags so that's easy to identify what target's what. I didn't put those on the targets out there right now when I should have, but kind of makes it more of a challenge for me. But anyway, key tip, stay low magnification, stay on your scope so you don't lose track of your targets. Because if depending on how your range layout is, how the range layout is at your match, it's going to be very problematic trying to find that target again if you come off scope. So pan, stay with your sight picture as you pan your rifle, and you should be fine. It's pretty straightforward though. You should finish with plenty of time. Just don't panic, and clearly identify your target. Remember, it's not about bonus time. As long as you don't time out, you just want to make all 10 hits. That's the key thing here. If you get finished with extra time, that's good, but you don't want to finish with a miss. And you don't want to time out with saved rounds. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. It's a very simple stage, or straightforward stage rebuilding ground zero. Let's move on to the next stage of fire. Next stage we're going to run through is called Remember Ladder 4. This is an interesting stage in terms of the props, but it's a 10-round stage, 120-second part time. We have two targets, a 1.5 inch at 63 yards and a 3 inch at 100 yards. We have a ladder positioned on a sawhorse, as you see here. Facing downrange, sawhorse is on the left side. Ladder is rested against it with the top side of the ladder on the sawhorse scaling down. Feet on the right side. So you're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, the shooter will engage each target with one shot far than near from 5 different ladder rung locations. The ladder will be collapsed, laying flat with the top portion supported by the sawhorse as pictured. And that's how I have it positioned. So you're going to shoot 5 rungs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So from each rung position, you're going to shoot far, near, far, near, far, near, far, near, far, near. And I assume you can do it in whatever order you want. I'm thinking I want to work my way down, top down, not bottom up. I actually think that might be better. We'll see. I'm going to try it. It's a pretty straightforward stage. Let's try it out. -2. 1:13 on the clock. So this is not an easy stage, to be honest. It's actually takes a little bit of skill here. Not entirely sure if I'm approaching this stage correctly, to be honest. I am using this kind of splayed bipod as sort of support, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm gaining anything out of it because I'm using this as a barricade stop right here. I could probably shoot without it, but I feel like it gives me some grip there, which is why I like to have it there. And the splaying the bipod legs out like that gives me the ability to get that barricade stop right there, kind of on top of the bag. I'm not entirely sure if that's how I want to do this or not. Definitely an interesting stage, to be honest. I'm gonna have to run through this. I'll probably practice this at home and dry firing in the garage or something, but this does require you to be dead on. I was hunting for targets. I should probably come off a little bit. I wasn't moving parallax. I had it parallax for 100 yards and I was just shooting at the 63 yarder without adjusting parallax. I think you can get away with that, although I did miss my last shot there. But I think that was more me with the bad shot and rushing it. Anyway, I would probably, to be honest, if I had my fortune cookie here, I would probably run the larger bag because the mini game changer doesn't give me enough, I guess. Here, I probably would run the fortune cookie, or a larger one at least, or maybe my larger game changer. And it might be nice to have a second bag when you get to the lower part of this section. I don't know. You can start throwing bags at it, or you can just practice to learn how to shoot without the bags. I think you probably just learn to practice to shoot without bags to make you better. Anyway, that's it for this stage. Let's move on to the next stage of fire. Next stage of fire we're going to run through is called Stay United for Flight 93, 100 by second part time, 10 rounds. We've got 2 banks of targets. We have the full KYL at 48 yards, which is the 1 inch, 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1/4 inch. Then we have a 1.5 inch at 93 yards. 10 rounds, 120 seconds, so 100 points possible. You're going to start standing, rifle on gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, the shooter will take a prone supported position and engage the KYL, starting with the largest target, and alternate with the far target, then back to the KYL. So you're going to go 1 inch KYL, far target, 3/4 inch KYL, far target, 1/2 inch KYL, far target, 1/4 inch KYL, far target. If the shooter does not miss, then he or she will engage the last 2 shots with 1 shot. Engage the last 2 shots with 1 shot on the smallest KYL and 1 shot on the far target. The near KYL target, so the KYL bank is a hit or miss, move on. The far target's hit to advance. So you shoot the KYL, hit or miss, you shoot the far, but you have to hit the far to move back to the KYL. It's an interesting stage in terms of how they do that, but interesting in terms of they adds a little level of complexity there. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. So we'll go ahead and run through this and see how it goes. Huh, low. Oh, that's a hit to move on. So I dropped one round, finished with 108 on the clock. Definitely, you can't be too relaxed on this one, simply because there's going to be a lot of movement here. Not much else to say here. There's a little bit of movement as with the way the targets are set up here, and having to adjust to different elevations too, because the KYL's on the ground and the 100 or 93-yard target is a little bit up. That's going to cause slow a lot of people down on this at our venue. So you have to be able to quickly change levels as far as your rear bag. That's the only real hang up here. I did have my scope dialed in kind of high, to be honest, just under 20 magnification, but I was able to get on my targets pretty easily because it's just intuitive to see the KOL at this distance and then fall in line to that 93-yard target. I dropped one round. Not much else to say here. It's pretty straightforward, I guess. It's just knowing that I did lose a few seconds because I came off target when I missed the far target when it was a hit to move on. So it's probably where I lost a few seconds, but other than that, it's a pretty straightforward stage. Just don't miss and you'll be fine. I think that's the key thing. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the last stage of fire. And I'm going to circle back around after this to shoot the tank trap again because the range is cleared. The other guy left. So anyway, let's go and move on to the final stage, and then we'll work our way around to the first stage we ran through today. The fifth stage of the September 2021 NRL22 Course of Fire that we're running through is called Lest We Forget the Fallen. 120-second part time, 12 rounds. So Californians, 10 rounders, will need a mag change. We're going to have two targets, a 1-inch at 42, 3-inch at 93 yards. Standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, the shooter will send the reverse rooftop and engage each target with 3 shots from near, then far, alternating between each target. Near, far, near, far. Shooter's entire body and equipment must be on the rooftop. The rooftop is facing reverse with the pitch facing downrange, as you see here. This is the one stage that when people were previewing the NRL22 September 2021 Course of Fire, they were wondering how this is going to be shot. And so I didn't bring my angle finder, and I believe this is a 30-degree pitch that I built this rooftop stage to. And unfortunately, we have to shoot 2 levels because the 42-yard target is going to be lower angle on the ground, and the 93 is going to be kind of an upper angle. So our range, our venue, is a little bit more difficult than most. Either way, though, people are probably trying to think on how they're going to shoot this. Honestly, don't even know. You can have a big bag. You can try to lean back one way. I don't think that's going to work. If you have one of those triple pull sky pods, that might work. I'm going to take some time to just feel how this is actually going to function in order to see how I can shoot this. But I do have these slats here, so you can get some different leg positions and still retain yourself on the rooftop. So I might be able to shoot with a big bag, knee up or something. I have no clue. So I want to take a few minutes off camera to kind of figure this stage out, because this is something that I honestly don't know how I'm going to shoot. This is probably one of the most unsafe stages I think you can make here. So there's a lot of things to be aware of here. Number one, your feet and your legs potentially for a shooter will be in front of the muzzle. I had to adjust the pitch on this. There's no way anyone is going to be able to make a shot with a 30-degree pitch with an additional 10 to 15 degree up angle. It's just not possible. There's no way to, unless I just don't know how to do it and somebody can show me, but there's just no way I can see how you can do that. So I had to adjust this. This right here is completely, it's not very safe. So I need to come up with a little bit, another mechanism by which we can get the rooftop at a shallower pitch. So I'm probably gonna have to come up with either some other more stable bricks, or I'll get like a bunch of cinder blocks and stack them so I don't have just this narrow base on two sides. But I'm gonna have to change the pitch of this. I'm gonna get a tape measure to measure this to see what the height is. But other than that, I mean, assuming you were shooting at a down angle, what you could probably do, most people will be able to do, is figure out how to get your bipod legs maxed out, right? And you would just shoot at a down angle like this, possibly. We can't do that here with an upward trajectory, or at least upward elevated 93-yard target. So that being said, even if I shot it like this, I got my feet forward of my muzzle, which is pretty unsafe in general. So what I was trying to do was get this bag up, and ideally I would have both my feet up somewhere around here, get this cradled with my feet behind my muzzle. I was using this bag as sort of back support, and I think this is relatively safe in terms of none of my body parts I really can't see on camera. I have the screen facing me, but I think this is relatively safe in terms of my body parts behind the muzzle. And if I'm comfortable, I can actually shoot this. It's just trying to get back to the far target, and I'm not really getting shoulder here at all. I'm kind of using my bipod on my leg to pull it back to my leg to index. Let me get this loaded mag out. I should clear this. But so I can probably make a few hits here. This bag behind me is mainly just so I can get back support. And I'm just going to be taking some wild pulls here, right? This is not supported with my buttstock's not in my pocket. And I mean, there's no recoil here, so this is doable, but I mean, I can try to run this again, but this is a pretty sketchy stage. I'm surprised they actually put this in the Course of Fire. Anyway, let me try to run it one more time. Yeah, I'm not really feeling the stage, to be honest. This is going to be hard for us logistically at our range, our venue. Let me try it one more time. I got to load some mags. So I timed out with 10 shots I think I took. I really don't see how anyone is going to do very well on this, at least at our venue, unless I guess you're an experienced PRS NRL shooter. I don't know how to shoot the reverse rooftop like this. There's probably a better way to do it. I guess my positioning, the last bank of shots I took were really bad in terms of I let the gun sink. I need to just get my legs up, cradle the bag evenly to control the height here, and that should be okay. Don't let the gun sink. I got to keep my knees up with this bag right here. Then I'm using this bag to get my back supported, and I'm not using the buttstock in the pocket here. So I don't know. I don't know if you can hear me, my mic's behind me, but if you can shoot this stage, or you know how to shoot this, I'm all ears, please comment, but I honestly don't know how this is supposed to work without a tripod. I know everyone's like, yeah, use a tripod, but tripods aren't allowed in NRL22. Yeah, this is going to be the toughest stage ever. I'm going to, I don't know. I'm going to make this available for everyone to shoot, I guess, somehow. Or people I recommend you bring a big bag or a rucksack full of stuff just to use that. I recommend, at least for this venue, a second bag to get your back up, because that's kind of the key thing, unless you want to camp to one side, which is possible, but the problem is going to be getting this gun up, because as I mentioned, at our venue, you're shooting in an upward angle. If we're shooting at the ground, I guess this would be less of a problem, but we're shooting at an upward angle, so that's what makes this stage at our venue just infinitely more difficult. Anyway, I want to go ahead and circle back around. Let's shoot that tank trap one more time, because I sort of rushed through that, and I would like to try that one more time anyway. So I dropped one. I was able to finish with barely enough time. I'll have to look at that timer when I get a chance. But I wasn't on the center of the rope, but I was on the rope. I did not touch the, get this bag out the way. I did not touch the wood here. I was resting with the rifle rather. I was putting my hand on the rope here just to get this thing sort of controlled. and my body is touching the center of the tank trap, I guess, or this tank trap trip. So I was using that for sort of leverage. And this bag wedged here is keeping my body sort of controlled. But my rifle is not touching the trap at all, so we're good. I think this is the way I'm going to shoot it, as I mentioned earlier in my first run, how I wanted to go about it. Sorry, I'm looking for my mic. Yeah, make sure I have my mic on me. But this is how I was going to shoot: left, back, tank trip, and right tip, and then stay on the right side. Get enough room here to shoot without making contact with the tank trap itself. So I've got pretty good clearance here. I think this is the best way to go about it. The reason why I wanted to do it this way is because I get free control or enough room for my bolt to be operated. If I come back to this side, clear my gun here. Come back to this side. This one's a little bit hairy because I have, depending on how I'm going to control this, I have to shoulder my gun, but then I have this in the way. So I think it's possible, I guess. It depends on how you feel about it. I think I prefer it on that side. Anyway, I think most people will have to practice this themselves to figure out which side they like to shoot from. I think I'm going to prefer the right side. And then from as a match director type thing, I'm going to switch out ropes. I'm going to change this rope to something that doesn't, this has some stretch to it, but I think it's stretched out. The problem is I can't cinch it tight enough. I need to come up with a better mechanism so that this is 100% like doesn't sag over like multiple uses, because right now I had to put these deals here, but it looks, if you can see, it's kind of shifts a little bit. So I need to resolve that issue. In the last vlog, I mentioned that I got the long range arms Send It MV3 level. I was using that today, and just to give you a little quick overview of how I have it set up. I'm trying to use a zoom lens here so I can get a close up here. And I think I have this level. So if you notice here on the side of the spur mount, I have the Send It level attached to a pick rail that you attach to the spur mount. So LRA makes a vertical level, a 90-degree level, or sorry, 90-degree mount for their level. Unfortunately, the way it's designed, I guess this spur mount, the holes are not all the way back. They're more closer to the center. And so the problem is if I try to run that LRA Send It level or 90-degree mount on the spur, it will basically run into the parallax knob, and so it won't fit. So I still have that, don't know what I'm going to do with it. I sent an email to LRA and they didn't even respond. Like I thought, I was wondering if they made like an offset version where it puts the mount farther back even though the holes are in one spot. Maybe they have something with a longer rear bracket, but I got no response from them via email. So I went ahead and ordered a pick rail. This is like a 20-degree height. I should have gotten the 14 to be honest, but the 20 degree should be fine based on what I'm seeing here. I'm sorry, this is a little jittery here as far as the camera focusing, but it seems to fit fine. 20 degrees is a little bit tall, but it gives me enough clearance. I think a 14 degree, when I measured it, if I were going to run it up on the other way where this level's up top, it would run into the spur. I think it's just barely 14 millimeters. So I went with the 20, but now I'm running it downwards instead of upwards, so I could probably get away with the 14 to have it hug closer to the chassis. I don't know. But this is how I have it set up basically, and I have the Send It level right there. If I ran it upwards though, it would block my parallax knob, so I think I like it down, running down. Anyway, I'm trying to manipulate two tripods here. So just to give you a quick overview, let me zoom out a little bit so I can get into frame slightly. Let me see if I can watch what I'm doing. So you can see the lights are, it's set to standard sensitivity. Right now this is relatively level green, but if I cant it to the left, the red lights come on. If it were going horizontal, the red lights would still be the same. But basically, in this case, in a vertical orientation, you simply need to know that okay, you're canted, you need to go this way because it's the top, right? To get that to level back down, so that would be green. Now, if you go too much in a vertical position, then you kind of know the lights are kind of downwards, so you need to push toward the light, and then there you'll be level again. So same kind of concept. You need to turn towards the light, or kind of you're going up, so go this way, down this way. So it's kind of intuitive on how that works. I don't even know if that was on camera or not, but hopefully it was. I'm not sure if these lights are even coming up. I think it's on max brightness. There you go. Let's go max brightness. Anyway, that's pretty much the Senate level. And the reason why I decided to go with this is because of the way it works, right? When you set the level up, it kind of comes pre-leveled. But what you can do is you mount it in the orientation you want. Then you level however you want this thing to be leveled, and you can zero it out. So if I wanted to, I think theoretically, I didn't read the instructions, but let's say I had it like this, canted like this, and I zeroed it in this way, that the level's now zeroed for that. So every time if I wanted to, for some reason, to call this level, it would be green at this point. But the reason why I like this is the fact that you're not messing around with bubble levels. All I did was I put a plumb bob at home. I put my scope reticle on the plumb bob line with this mounted, and I zeroed it like that. So it doesn't matter where my scope is relevant to the rifle. It doesn't matter where my scope is, I guess, at the turret levels. We put a bubble level here and then try to level off with this. It doesn't matter because I put the gun in an orientation where I thought it was leveled based on how it's all mounted right now. So I just set up a plumb bob. I put my rifle in a position such that the reticle lined up with the plumb bob, and then once I found it was leveled, I left it alone, zeroed the MV3, and that was it. Now this is level. So I think that kind of solves a lot of these issues where this chassis level is not going to be matching the bubble level behind the spur and all these things, right? It's just you have a level that you know was zeroed out in a certain position that you wanted to call level for your gun. And so I think that's kind of the best way to go about it without too much hassle. Anyway, that's it for the LRA MV3. We'll see how this goes. I may turn down the sensitivity, but we'll see. I think I'm going to leave it at standard factory sensitivity right now. I might turn it down to one notch, I guess, to make it less sensitive. But because sometimes if you just rattle like that, obviously it's gonna light up like a parade. But see, now the wind is blowing it right now a little bit on the tripod, so it's causing it to wheel around. But it's nice to know that it's actually working. So anyway, I'm gonna run it like this for a while. We'll see how this goes. But that's the LRA MV3. Oh, and one other item, I did add another weight to the front end, so it's pretty much balanced at this point, right around here. This is from Gray Ops. It fits the MPA chassis. If you notice, it's still back heavy right there. But if I slide it just forward there, it should be dead on. And that's with the bipod in place though, unfortunately. So if you take the bipod, obviously it'll be back heavy still. But it'd be nice. I just don't want to keep adding more weights because it's just getting heavier and heavier. If I add another weight here, sorry, it's a B. If I add another weight here, it's not gonna have less effect because it's not, I mean, you want more weights farther forward. And that's why I think the MDT ACC has a little bit more benefit, because you can put more, the fulcrum point, putting the weights farther out is a lot easier than stacking a ton of weights closer to the center of where you want the balance point to be. So anyway, that's it for the rifle right now. And I just want to show off that level because I was going to show the level during my walkthrough or my run through, but I just didn't have a chance to. I'm tired, kind of hungry, and it's already past 11:30. It's 11:40 right now. So I'm gonna just not sight in the CZ455 today. So I'm packed up, ready to get out of here. As far as the September NRL22 2021 Course of Fire, that rooftop stage, I don't know what everyone's gonna do about this stage. I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see what other people will run. If people will post videos of their match venues and how other people shoot it, I'd be curious to know. I just think that our range with the upward angle makes this a lot more difficult, makes that stage a lot more difficult with the reverse rooftop. Even shooting ground level, it's still kind of difficult, but it's not as difficult as if you are shooting upwards. So I don't know. I'm going to do the best I can to help the people who shoot my match, that they can shoot it safely and with less difficulty. It's not going to be easy regardless of what I do. So I'm going to come up with something to get the pitch not as steep, so less than 30 degrees. Try to get it to around 15 to 10 degree pitch. That will qualify as a rooftop, I guess. And we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll make some bags or something, get a rucksack or something that people can use. Say, hey, here's something that you might be able to leverage for this. I might give people an extra few minutes of prep time just so they can get and try it, because I'm almost guaranteed that the people who shoot at my match, none of them have ever shot like a reverse rooftop ever in their life. So I'm going to give them an opportunity to do that. So I'll give them like a 3 or 4 minute preparation period so they can figure out the position as best they can. Anyway, if you see behind me, this is the parking lot of the rimfire range, but if you look on the hillside, and I got my zoom lens on here so I can change the magnification here, or the focal length rather. I'm not sure how well that's coming out. It's a little hazy, but you can probably see the fire retardant on the hillside. It's you can see it at the top. It's like orange, reddish type, but I guess from what I heard, they did the firefighters, the air crew were dropping fire retardant all around outside, because on the other side of this hill, that's where actually it burned. And I didn't record footage coming in, but it burned on the creek. So the creek that we crossed to get into the range, that burned. And the houses closer to the freeway, it's unfortunate because that those homes, some of those homes caught fire and they're like rubble right now. When I was watching the news and they were reporting on the South fire, they were talking about llamas, these farmers evacuating their llamas and their goats and whatever. And I'm like, well, that sounds like those folks that have a house right there across the street from a range, just down the street. And sure enough, I mean, it's pretty, it's unfortunate for those people. So hopefully they get some assistance in some manner, insurance or whatever will help try to cover that. But it's nothing can really replace that, right? It's not yeah, it's a tough time. But anyway, that's as far as this range is concerned. I'm trying to readjust my angle here. We got clearance to come into to our land here, to use the forest road to come in and out. So we should be good. Even though the forest, this whole forest is supposedly closed for recreational use through January, from what I heard. But this is private land, and so we can do what we want here, and we're given permission to come into our land. But I know, like Lido Creek, a lot of people go down there, and I off-road there occasionally. All those roads are shut down. Like, you're not supposed to be out there all through January. I know all of California except one area, all the national forests are closed down. So if you wanted to go hiking or whatever, you're SOL because you can't go out there. So all the forests are shut down. I think that's through the 17th of September, and it could be extended depending on what the authority, whoever was able to declare that order, what they decide to do. Anyway, enough for the chatter. That's kind of it for today, September 1st, here at the West End Gun Club. Hopefully you got some good information of the NRL22 September 2021 Course of Fire. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to comment on this video or reach out to me. Curious to hear your thoughts about the rooftop stage and all the other stages of this Course of Fire. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next vlog.